Super Mario RPG Armageddon. This might be the hardest game I play for this channel, and this is my 4th playthrough of it. Yeah, I haven't done a vid in a bit. I tried making reviews of Eve, Dujana, this strange realm of mine, but I don't know, I just couldn't write anything about them. I'm not great at plot analysis, which I guess is surprising. So I need to go back to my roots. I released a trailer for my game not too long ago, and this is relevant because when I think of inspirations for my game, gameplay wise, I think of a little hack. A hack to an extremely simplistic, yet beloved and easy RPG. And this hack turns it into an unbelievably brutal game that has ended up being one of my favorite RPGs in terms of gameplay. Which is pretty surprising because this is an RPG with only 3 equipment slots, 3 characters max for a party, 4 different stats, shared MP. It's very simplified to the point where you wonder just how hard it could be. And I know what you're thinking, Spacey, shut up. And yeah, good point, but I'm gonna keep talking. SMRPG Armageddon is a ROM hack of the original SMRPG, which title is so long that I'm not even gonna bother with. It's an old RPG made by Square that you probably heard of, likely due to this dude. It's very simplistic, baby's first RPG kind of deal, and might be one of the first RPGs ever to actually have action commands, timed attacks, timed blocks, Armageddon was made by Dark Kefka, a YouTuber that has a lot of vids on RPGs that have been around for a while. I mean, this mod first came out in this release video back in 2011, and Dark Kefka still uploads today. However, the latest update we're looking at today was made in 2018, with Doomsday 31415 being attributed to the creation of Armageddon as well. Although I will talk about the funny stuff I remember from older versions because this hack has gone through wild changes. It's kind of crazy just how much changes every update. Anyways, the goal was to take the original SMRPG, which I guess I'll just call vanilla, and add more content and make the game harder. Which is honestly one of my favorite kinds of ROM hacks, Take a game you like, add content, make it harder. It's like a Master Quest bonus run. Except it's designed with hindsight of the game's original flaws and limitations, and it introduces new and cool ideas. For a lot of these mods, it's my preferred way to play the game, which goes for here too. This mod used to be hosted on insane difficulty, now replaced by NG+. Good place to find cool mods with the same ideas as this one. This mod is awesome. Let's begin. So, story-wise, a lot of things... Oh, just hit the mic. So story-wise, a lot of things follow the same path, although I think this mod goes out of its way to make the characters and story more memorable. But first, let's hit our file name up. And maybe the biggest thing you'll notice is that the blue window opposed to the original. Blue is a big reoccurring color in this, and I don't think it's just limited palettes. Something about this window just gives off such a sinister vibe, I like it. Right off the bat, we got Rosalina here for the tutorial. Yeah, Rosalina is kind of a big character in this, just roll with it. I wish a lot of these custom characters had sprites more like, anything in the vanilla game. But to be fair, the vanilla sprites are 3D models, so I guess they was a hard style to copy. She reminds us that we're playing the casual difficulty of the mod and calls us babies, which I'm calling crap on because I feel like if this hack was any harder, it'd be impossible. Armageddon used to come out with an easy and hard mode patch, but I don't even think V9 has a hard mode. Anyways, here, Rosalina introduces us to one of the biggest differences from vanilla. All weapons have 2 timed attacks. This might not sound like it, but this makes the game extremely difficult. Damage in SMRPG is static. You always do the same damage with your attacks. The variable to this is your timed press when you press the action command. It honestly makes the weapons so fresh. Like, Bowser basically gets like 1 weapon throughout the whole game, but because you have to learn the correct timing for both parts of the attack, it's like you're slowly understanding the weapon. It's really cool. It's sort of like a self level up, which is kind of meta. The weapon doesn't get any stronger, but your skill with it, finding the correct parts of the animation to press on, becomes more consistent. You end up doing more damage, not from anything from the game, but from your own skill. The other big change is the nerfing of perfect blocks. In vanilla, if you time a block perfectly to an enemy's attack, it will deal no damage. This has been heavily reduced. You will take damage regardless, and it's to the point where if you miss a perfect block later on in the game, you are probably going to get one shot. The trade-off is that you can now block the single hit magic spells, which is pretty nice. Though I would have also liked to block the ones that hit the whole party too. Limitations, I guess. And even in this tutorial, I was getting slapped up. It's really hard to tell with the animations when to block. I learned that you can get a more guaranteed block if you press it earlier than later, but you reduce the most damage at the latest actionable moment of the enemy's animation. So I guess it's a risk kind of thing. So after messing up the tutorial for like 10 minutes, let's just say I had a bad feeling. This is like a bad omen going in on this. We get through the prologue as normal. The Bowser fight is actually posing a threat this time. I remember just straight up getting stuck here on one of my first playthroughs. This is a hack with a lot of tricks up its sleeve. It purposely hides a lot of the amazing things about it, so in a lot of ways it seems more like vanilla as you know it, but with strange small differences that make you ask, hey, that wasn't there before, right? Case in point, after returning to Mario's house, you find Yoshi and Luigi. Not here in the original, of course. I mean, Luigi wasn't even in the original. Luigi warns us about anti-guys, like the dudes from Paper Mario, and Yoshi says to come back to him from time to time to get some items. Alright. And this Toad dude warns us about hidden rare monsters or some crap. Yeah, whatever. From here, the game plays out somewhat normally. You may notice enemies having new attacks and the whatnot, but for the most part, things are similar. Arriving in the Mushroom Kingdom, we go to the castle and hey, is that Daisy? Well, okay. Anyways, we get Mallow to join the team and go on that little quest to catch Croco. The Croco fight can be a little difficult, and that's what I like about the bosses in this. It's never free. You always just barely survive. When returning to the kingdom, the shysters from earlier have taken over the town, just like in vanilla. And now this is when I'm going to get into some weird stuff. The music here is that song that plays in the gate area from the end of the vanilla game. However, here it's used a lot more as sort of like Smithy's army's theme. Like whenever these guys are out and about, this song plays. It gives character to them and I really like that. Another thing, and this is when things get weird, I know. But I had this thought when I last played this mod. But you know, with most RPGs, you start out at like level 1 with like 20 HP and you're dealing like 10 damage to the enemy. And you slowly build up. It becomes exciting when you hit that 100 damage mark. But here, you aren't some random kids out on an adventure. You're Mario. Right out of the gate, you're doing hundreds of damage. You already start out with like 300 HP. It was already at this point that I was breaking past thousands when it came to damage. You felt like you were a bunch of powerful dudes handling a situation normally. Like you stomp these guys. They do piss damage, assuming you're blocking well. It's like Ludo narrative, you know, it's cool. Even your typical mushroom items heal you for 1000 HP. Everything is turned up for this mod. Like your early late game healing items in this are full party heals and max revives. Stuff you'll still be using by the end. Even Mac isn't too much trouble when you understand the fight. In other words, this game makes you feel like Mario. But also, it's bait. This is how they lure you in. You come in thinking you're cool, hitting that 1k damage, but you just fell for the trap. Remember, this game has some big tricks up its sleeves that we won't be seeing for a long time. Anyways, Mac did this thing where he glue blue, which I thought was just like some random stat buff that wouldn't mean much, but no, it turned out it was a powerful charge attack. Whoops. Daisy also gives me some sick gloves for this fight. We go through the sewer segment and fight Mallow. You have to understand, this mod is crammed to the brink. Like, they probably didn't have much room left, if at all. It kind of led to them removing some of the more boring parts of the vanilla game, so we don't have to worry about seeing Mallow later in the Mallow's lair. Hell, Mallow doesn't even have that annoying mechanic of eating your partners. Going to Frog Fuchsius, we get a cool new staff for Mallow. Weapons take on a lot more elemental forms in this hack. In fact, compared to vanilla, elements are actually a thing. They're really important. In this case, Mallow gets a flame staff. It makes for a neat alternative, because at the moment, Mallow only has electric magic, so on bosses weak to fire, you can opt out and go melee with him. Anyways, let's go through Roseway and wait, what? Was that a random encounter? Oh, that's this 30k damage. Oh hey, it's one of those anti-guys Luigi was warning us about. I'm sure this is just some tough mini-boss I can handle. Oh god! Well, let's just leave Roseway for now. That didn't happen. This game has a lot of mechanics I really like in RPG. For example, you get all these super heal items and crap. Like in Final Fantasy, I always hold on to the elixirs because they're like the best healing item in the game. They fully restore HP and MP of one character. But here, it doesn't take long until you start getting items that fully restore HP and FP for the full party. One neat thing is that these items come in threes. So if you already used one, it doesn't hurt as much to use the rest of them. It loses value. And since these can be bought with frog coins from the very beginning, it really encourages going out and finding those hidden boxes, right? So the neat thing is that when you get defeated in battle, you don't return to the title screen to reload your save and lose progress. Nah, Rosalina revives you near where you fell. All progress saved, all XP saved, everything, and any items you used in that fight are given back. I really like this. You never lose progress when you fall, and it encourages going all out with your items. It's really forgiving for a game like this. Another thing I really like that's like not in any other RPGs is that you can run from every encounter, except for the boss encounters. And I know what you're thinking, Spacey, you idiot, you can do that in every JRPG, which yes, is true, but fleeing battle in this game, 100% guaranteed. Thank God! If you can't tell, this game was made by people who play these games all the time. It's why I'm very inspired by it. Yeah, sure, it can be bad if you skip too many enemies because then you end up underleveled and get the crap kicked out of you, which is kind of what I did. But on the bright side, leveling up is really easy. Seriously, you'll level up nearly every 1 to 2 fights in Armageddon, and it's really fast paced. Leveling will have you choose a bonus stat like in vanilla. Don't worry about building too hard for now, just choose what you want. And also, don't waste it on HP. That's the scam option. Final thing is that guarding in this game is powerful. Like, it doesn't feel like you reduce like half damage in most RPGs. You reduce like 75% damage. It can be really useful. It's like an invincibility button. Anyways, I go to get the treasure in Forest Maze, being told that like weird girls live there or some crap. I mean, okay, I won't judge. Whoa, this is ominous. Whatever this is, I guess I'm not ready for it. Weird stuff. Anyways, the Boyer fight, is that how you say that? I don't care. The Boyer fight was tough, but I clutched it out. It feels really satisfying to see the boss flash when they're defeated. Square really nailed that stuff, huh? Feels better here because you're always on the brink of death with these bosses. I was really getting tripped up by trying to block Boyer's arrow attack, and missing the timing is basically an insta-kill. Also, while you may think you can just run from every fight, there is a hidden speed stat, and some enemies at the moment do outspeed you, and they get the first strike, so at this point, you might as well just fight the fight. Okay, so by this point, I thought it'd be cool to do something, you know, nothing too special. I just opened the game up in a hacking program and edited the sprites. You may have noticed the characters having weird colors in some of these clips, and yeah, I thought it'd be cool if I put in my own sprites, like noise or something, but then I realized, hey, there's kind of a lot of sprites to replace, so never mind. I just changed the palette of the characters. I know after doing this stuff with Final Fantasy VI, it's kind of dangerous as a lot of characters tend to share the same palettes and such, but here I saw no conflict. Like, maybe the toads were colored different, but other than that, it worked perfectly. I thought it'd be cool if I did, you know, pride flag palettes for the characters. I'm sure you can identify these, it's nothing too deep, I just need some palettes to work with. I just wanted to change the characters' colors. So yeah, just wanted to tell you this in case if you're wondering something like, hey, is Mallow poisoned for this entire hack? Nah, he's just bisexual. Anyways, Mulville is the same for the most part. The Punch Yellow fight has some pretty cool strategy behind it that I won't spoil. We get the star piece and let's get out. Wait, what? The Axum Rangers? Yeah, remember how I said this hack makes the stories and characters better? This is what I mean. The Axum Rangers, instead of just being a random one-off villains you fight once and never see again, are more like reoccurring rivals, constantly showing up to take the star in duos. They even have their own theme, which in vanilla only played at one part, and here it plays whenever they show up. I really like that, because it makes the battle with all of them later on one more built up, and you know what they all do. It's honestly one of the best fights in the mod. So yeah, moving on, all the booster stuff happens as normal. You may notice little differences like how certain rooms are missing, or stuff like how bonus flowers you get from beating enemies in vanilla are gone. I don't care that much, and you have to understand they were doing their best with what space they had. I'm surprised I beat the cake boss on my first try. It always gives me a run for my money. One thing I love is that despite how difficult and serious this mod is, it's still SMRPG. Like, remember that dumb booster hill minigame? Well here, this basically decides how much FP you'll have for the rest of the game. I usually suck dick at this, but I don't know, this time I went like Ultra Instinct or some crap. I was getting the timings on the barrel jumps really well. Also hey, yeah, Bowser's here. One thing cool about Armageddon is that it's balanced. Like sure, in vanilla it was so easy you could just use whoever the crap you want, but everyone just ran Mario, Peach, Gino. Well here, Bowser and Mallow are just as good. I'll get to why later, but Bowser can basically become a summoner later on, it's crazy. Also, you don't need to have Mario on your party at all times. What a weird limitation that was in vanilla, so now you can create some impossible teams. And that's kind of what I did. I said screw off Mario, eat my dick and have a nice day, and formed a different team. But what's cool about Armageddon is at random points, characters will get new equipment. And suddenly they're better and worth having on your team, so you're always switching it up. Like, yeah, there was even a point I wasn't using Peach. Although I definitely was starting out. You can buy a wedding dress for her before you can even get her, and it halves all elements. After getting Peach, we go to Star Hill to meet Rosalina, and she gives us the ability to level up characters with Galaxy Coins. Yeah, another currency from Frog Coins and normal coins. Galaxy Coins are these small blue coins that can be found around and about. You can also see a Luma who will offer you straight up in-game items for Galaxy Coins, so this is an important currency. Rosalina tells you about a hidden box here, revealing a lucky ring. This gives you an XP bonus upon equipping it. If you equip that and then level up that character with Rosalina, they actually gain multiple levels instead of one. Consider that a little hot tip from Spacey, alright? Although grinding is so easy in this game, should you really waste those Galaxy Coins on levels? You'll find some weird areas on Star Hill, like, this wasn't here before. This is what I mean when I say at first, Armageddon feels like the original game, but with everything shifted slightly. But as it goes on, the shift goes farther and farther until you find yourself playing something completely different. In vanilla, there was no boss fight here, you just grab the star and that's it. Weird, but here, you get another battle with the Axum Rangers. Axum Ranger Green has been recolored to blue here. I'm guessing this is because he's ice elemental. Enemies are kind of colored to show their element type, although sometimes you just have to guess off their attacks they're using. Sometimes the screen will flash when they attack to hint. Much like most things here, the elemental tree is very simple. Fire and ice beat each other, holy and thunder beat each other. Yeah, no triangle or anything. Anyways, off to Seaside and the ghost ship. Hey, huh? What's this side cave area? Oh, hey Kyogre, how you doing? Anyways, the ghost ship is still pretty lame, but this might be the best I've ever done at that 3D maze. I tell you, this usually takes me hours. This is pretty funny, but the passwords you enter here to get rewards are the name of Vocaloid characters. That's just the kind of mod this is. Having to put Hatsune Miku in as a password to progress. I think it's cool. You made the mod, so put the stuff you like in it. I remember having a huge Vocaloid phase a long time ago. Crime and Punishment and Witch are hits, baby. Last time I heard Vocaloid was at a virtual concert with a buddy of mine while we were playing PSO2. Good times. Always like to imagine this dragging me fight right after inputting the password is a huge Hatsune Miku fan, like they were the one telling you to check her out. You can also type in a certain password here that gives you access to a fight that, well, I can't spoil any more than that. Moving on, we beat up my boyfriend and we get the star. So the Yardovic fight, I feel like, is a pretty good point of whether or not you're going to finish this hack. It's tough. It took a little over 10 minutes for me, which is relatively short because eventually you'll be getting battles that double that. But I loved every second of it. I used everything I had. Don't hold back on item usage. You can buy every item in this game. Nothing is limited or exclusive. This item here that lets you perfect block everything, pop that one for sure. It's an awesome fight. Going back to Daisy, she tells us that Croco guy stole her ring, so let's keep that in mind going forward. Oh hey, who's this? Yeah, I saw that coming. Alright, let's check out Monstro Town. Oh sweet, I can just enter Culex' door, that really hard super boss from the original game. Wait, Magus? Ouchie. The Smilex box here always ends up beating my dick, but this time? Nah, I still got slapped for like 2 hours. I had to report to these Persona people to get items to help. Speaking of which, Mallow is awesome, man. Attacks that hit everyone is so rare. Mallow is basically all you got for that for most of the game. Anyways, now for the worst part of the game. Up in the sky, Cloud Kingdom or some crap. Croco's here. Unless if you grind, he's just going to slap you up. This is actually Peach's solo fight. Every character has a dedicated solo fight, and beating them gives you a cool item or new spell for that character. I always despised this part of the game, even in vanilla. Birdo took me like 3 hours to beat here, just trying over and over. Some of the spells and attacks in this mod are so hard to block. A lot of enemies do this thing where they either do one attack, or they do the same animation but 3 times, and you have to block the last one. I don't know, it just feels unreactable. If you put a gun to my head and told me to block Shadow Flare, well, I'll miss you guys. Grind spot number 1, baby, the Bob-ombs and Booster Tower. By this point, you can probably just mash on these guys without worrying about blocking when they attack. You'll need to, because we've arrived at the worst fight in the game. The Valina fight is badly designed. It took an ungodly amount of time for me. Grind or go home. Let's analyze this. First of all, Dodo, this bird guy, takes your party leader, and you do a little solo battle. This isn't bad, you know, miss one timing and you explode. But then we get to here. You need to damage Val enough to get to the phase where your other party member returns, so you're just stuck with 2. Valina has 5 attacks. Her first one is this bubble thing that puts you to sleep. Her second is Krista, a super easy blockable ice attack. And now the problem attacks. She doesn't use this until your other party member comes back, but she raises her hand halfway up and you need to react and block that. Okay, fine. Then Armageddon. This is a holy attack that hits all party members and it will kill you. In fact, it will kill your whole party. Even with holy resistant gear, it will still kill you. Then Diamond Saw. This attack has a chance to instantly kill you. Here's the thing. Blocking an attack doesn't protect you from a status effect. You can block Diamond Saw perfectly, but it's still an instant KO if you're unlucky. You can block the sleep attack and still get put to sleep. So what's the problem? The problem is that you have 3 equipment slots. And with what you currently have, you can block Holy, but then you can't block Sleep or instant KO. You can block Sleep, but then you won't be able to survive insta-kill or the Holy attack. This is a fight meant for later in the game when you have equipment to block more of this, or a game where you have more than one accessory slot. Because basically you'll have one party member resisting light, one resisting instant KO, and one resisting sleep. So you just have to hope they get attacked by what they resist. It's a sickening amount of luck. If all your party members get put to sleep, then you basically lost the fight. Hit that reset. Sleep is basically an instant KO on its own. I bet even at max level, you still will die here, because you just don't have the kind of equipment to deal with this. I think this is the only truly bad fight, but it really is rough. Okay, Axum Rangers fight was dope. Anyways, Bowser's Castle. Would you believe me if I told you we aren't even halfway done with this hack? And this is the end of the vanilla game. Another case in point with how this serious and difficult mod is still a Mario RPG is this room where every character's next armor progression is this slow platforming room. Like, some of the best armors are here, and I don't know, I just think it's really funny that you have to engage with this game like this. Like, nobody likes this crabby isometric platforming stuff. The Xor Fight was really cool. It's nice to be able to do this fight without just doing the Gino whirl cheese. Hell, at the moment, Gino doesn't even have his whirl attack. Am I underleveled? Alright, so get this. I make it to the gate, final area of the vanilla game, right? So we're at the end. I got this skill with Peach that's basically Gino Flash. Yeah, Gino gets robbed of everything in this mod. But anyways, these ghost enemies are weak to Holy. This new skill Peach has is a Holy attack that hits everybody. This is the best grind spot in the game. Not only do you get a lot of money, but the XP rivals that of a boss fight. Put the feather on Peach so you can always attack first and give her the fan. When you run out of FP, leave and buy a bunch more FP regaining items. Pull up your favorite Bandcamp artist and start blasting some rocking tunes because baby, it's grind time. And I mean it, because I grinded until max level. Yeah, I know, I have no life. Mallow ends up getting this party-wide healing skill that's actually better than group hug. Like, it doesn't cost as much FP, it might not heal as much, but Mallow has higher magic stat than Peach, so it's still a max heal. It's a huge buff for Mallow to have this, and I like that they gave it to him. Mario's spells are also really cool. He can really cover the elements. He gets Fire Orb, Ice Orb, Lightning Orb, and Holy Orb. But if you don't want to play Magic Mario, he also gets access to a Fire, Ice, and Holy Hammer. Even if you end up getting stronger hammers, I still found myself switching to an elemental hammer for certain encounters, and I really like that. It still gives them a use. Speaking of hammers, now that I was max level, I went back and fought those anti-guys that beat me up. Remember that crap? It's extremely satisfying being able to come back and slap these guys up. It's one of my favorite things about Armageddon, is that really showing that progression of strength you go through. After defeating all the anti-guys and getting some cool items from them, like being able to see some hidden chests and crap, I go back to Luigi, and he gives me the Luigi hammer, one of the best weapons in the game. Sweet. Let's go beat Smithy now. Wait, what? General guy? Wait, no, please! Pre-Smithy. This is the closest you'll get to seeing Armageddon's hidden secret that it's been hiding from you. Listen to the music. Yeah, it's General Guy's theme from Paper Mario 64. Custom music. There's actually an obscene amount of custom songs in this mod, and you've barely experienced any of it by this point. It's holding back on you. This fight is crazy. When I saw 2 anti-guys come out, I started busting out the big items because that's when I realized this is a real fight. 15 minutes, by the way. Great stuff. Alright, Smithy, let's slap up. The path to Smithy isn't too different. There are some fights that you can only use physical or magical attacks that I really could have done without, but you know, what are you gonna do? Before Smithy, you get one last fight against Axum Ranger Red. Honestly feel kinda bad for this dude, kinda killed all of his friends. If this mod added more playable characters, I would love to be able to play as Axum Ranger Red. This dude is cool. I don't want to spoil this fight because it's kind of amazing, but I will say it took me 20 minutes. Before fighting Smithy though, I went back and did Bowser's solo fight against this Magic Koopa. Doing so finally gave Bowser some skills. Yeah, all he had was a single fire one, but now you can command 3 different Magic Koopas. I built a more physical Bowser though, so I'll get to these skills later. Regardless, the Smithy fight only took me around 20 to 25 minutes. It was still really challenging. The barrier shift stuff really had me confused for a bit, but yeah, even for level 100, still a challenge. Alright, that's Armageddon, we beat it. It wasn't that bad, and you know, it's actually a pretty good hack. Alright, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we've reached the halfway point. This is where Armageddon truly begins. We're entering post-game. Yeah, post-game. No credits or infinite ending screen here. The game continues, very much so unlike vanilla. And we're getting into some crazy stuff here. Basically, super bosses are placed everywhere around the world. You'll go back to an area, see May from Pokemon, and suddenly you're buying Pokeballs and catching Pokemon for her. You'll find random sparklers leading to crazy super bosses. If this is how the fight starts out, then you might just have a chance. Going back to Rosalina, she now offers to respec party members. So if you don't like the choices you made or want to build different, this is where you do it. Rosalina will also give you the Galaxy Star. It's an item that can be used once per battle, and it heals everybody, fully, even down party members, and it gives the user's turn back. It's basically like a full reset for your party. I love this item so much. It has so many uses too. You can enter a battle, use it, and then run away just to get a full heal without going to an inn. If this seems overpowered to you, nah, it's necessary. You will be getting cracked by everyone. You'll enter a battle and get sweep before you even have the option to attack. When the Emerald Weapon is one of the easier boss fights, you know you're into some sick stuff. These fights are all really cool. There are new attacks, new spells, new music using the SMRPG sound font. It's a completely different game. Some areas have Tonberries that when beaten give armor that resists certain elements. And this is pretty huge because some fights you need to prepare yourself by having stuff like that, alongside preparing super endgame buff items. If you're running low on galaxy coins, it's time you hit that beetle grind, buddy. Yep, you ain't a real Armageddon fan if you aren't out here on Booster Hill with your beetle box like we are, grinding it out. It's really daunting at first. It seems like you can't beat anybody, but as soon as you can find a boss you can barely handle and clutch it out, you get a cool piece of equipment, and slowly but surely, you begin to snowball. And this is really where you begin to switch around equipment and party members. Like I had this cool item on Mario that super buffed his stats, but I noticed that in all these fights he was just getting destroyed by magic, so it was crap. So I said screw it and I gave him some elemental resist stuff instead. Mario also just ends up getting like the best spell in the game. Peach also later gets an insanely strong spell too. Oh yeah, remember Bowser? Alright, So he has 3 different Magic Koopas he can summon out. He can use the red Magic Koopa to buff a teammate's attack, farther proving that Gino is actually completely useless. He can use the blue Magic Koopa to use a lightning spell that attacks all, and can use the white Magic Koopa for a party heal. Although his party heal isn't the best because unlike Mallow or Peach it doesn't heal status effects, but this is still a pretty nice setup for a mage. And his standard fire spell he starts out with is great too, leaving a damage over time status effect on the opponent, which I think makes this the only spell that can do that. Gino was super useless to me for this run, like I barely touched the guy. Like yeah, such as I said earlier, there were fights where I preferred to pull him out, but his coolest niche of buffing attacks gets given to Bowser, and I don't know, I just never found anything for him. I couldn't even beat his solo battle, I just found it way too hard, even with post-game armor. That's not to say he isn't viable though, on my 3 other playthroughs I did use Gino more than anybody else actually. Although maybe that's just because I really like Gino, maybe even too much, but that's a story for another day. I always forget about this, but if you don't know what to do, talking to Frogfucius will give you tips on what super bosses to do next, which I guess kinda makes an order of things to do, but I don't know, I prefer wandering around and creating my own order. There's also a certain sense of coolness for entering a fight like, I think I can do it this time, and barely managing to pull it off, rather than going in like, alright, this is the first run Frogfucius says, so I'm expected to win. The weapons you get are really cool too, like I got this sick staff with Mallow that I really like the animation on. I mostly went with Mario, Peach, and Bowser though, known as Team We Need More FP. It's really cool how the strategies change with fights, like one fight Peach is chilling back while healing and casting auto life, but then the next Peach is the main damage dealer while everyone else plays support. I think a good highlight of this is the fight against Flux Scene. Yeah, some random Kingdom Hearts character or some crap. They really just go all out with who they put in this. Anyways, first time around, she destroyed me, like no mercy. I couldn't even block her attacks. I thought this was hopeless, that I just wasn't ready yet. But I learned that she was weak to Holy and used a lot of electric attacks. So then I got some electric resistant armor. Luckily the Tomberries dropping it were right next to her place. And then changed my team around, having Mario with the Holy Hammer, Mallow with the Holy Rod, and Peach with her Holy Spells. Second try, wasn't even close. For Flux Scene, because I destroyed her. I spammed Holy attacks everywhere, used that item that guaranteed perfect blocks because I knew I couldn't block these. I went in. Not only did I get a new spell for Mallow, I also got these cool throwing knives for Peach. And that's what I love about Armageddon, just slowly getting these new and cool equipment as you go down and destroy all these bosses. Although this also brings up something I sort of really don't like about this version of Armageddon. You see, in this version, V9, all of these cool encounters and super bosses are hidden until you beat Smithy. But in older versions, all of these were here and you could just encounter them during your normal playthrough. And I think that's way cooler. I mean, we already know this is a mod, so don't be afraid to show this stuff. You go throughout the game getting destroyed by all these cool super bosses, and then after you beat Smithy, you turn around, crack your knuckles, alright, you're next. And you make this list of heads to hunt, people who have beaten you up throughout this whole journey, and it feels good to get revenge. Shows how much you've progressed. But now it's just like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of things you can do now that you beat Smithy. Have fun. You don't even get to know where these are, besides talking to Frogfucius on where to go. So now you really do have to backtrack through all these areas, and I don't know, I just think it's a lot lamer. One of the most memorable moments is playing Armageddon for the first time and encountering the random encounter Bronchosaurus in the forest maze. That left such an impression on me. But now that can't even happen until you beat Smithy. I don't like that at all. But maybe it's better that way, I don't know. Man, the older versions had some funny things though. It's weird how much weapons and items move around. My favorite case was this ring in the older version, and it was really cool because multiple characters could use it. It's the only weapon that multiple characters could use, except for Bowser, he couldn't use it. But the gimmick was that if you missed the time attack on the ring, the game would soft lock. So needless to say, it was a risky weapon, but it was really good, so you wanted to use it. I'm pretty sure the older versions used to have elemental bombs that attacked everyone, but I guess that's been replaced with the Persona items. There's a lot of small stuff, like enemies like the Goomba used to have more attacks, like one where the Goomba would jump on you that I thought was really cool. I can only assume that these were removed to save space. But yeah, I guess by here, the game really stops when you want it to, and in this case, I did stop after Flux Scene. I mean, I've beaten this before, but I really need to get back to work. it's kind of surprising. I don't hear a lot about this hack. It's surprisingly underrated for the content it has, and even how long it's been updating for. I don't know, maybe people don't actually like this mod, in which case, you might want to dodge my game then. This is more of my style, man. Playing games and looking at the game design. This is the stuff I could dig into. Armageddon has a really nice idea on presenting skill in JRPGs, alongside keeping the ties with Mario. You really want those good healing items? Search around for those hidden chests and do well at the minigames. But this is still a tough game. Even if you have the best equipment, you aren't guaranteed to win until you study your opponents and your own weapons to learn the best timing. Or maybe you suck at that. Well, beetle grind a bit and get the items to perfect block everything. It honestly isn't very pricey at all, and if that's how you want to play, then go for it. I would love to see what these guys could do with an original game, because I'll admit there's a lot of limitations here. Hell, just being able to break 999 HP was a huge moment for these guys. To the physical attacks of these enemies just being relegated to them flashing a few times and you having to block it. If they had full freedom to make whatever they wanted, I'd like to see that. There's a lot of cool ideas here that I really like. Definitely one of my bigger inspirations. But yeah, this mod is cool, and so are you. I'm not sure if by this point I've won you over on this hack or fully convinced you that I have crappy taste. Maybe this mod actually sucks and I'm crazy for thinking it's one of the better RPGs out there and it's better than actually most RPGs out there. But if that makes me crazy, then I'll stay crazy, because I think this mod is a ton of fun in few ways that other RPGs have actually managed to be fun. So give this a try if this does look like a good time to you. Just know what you're getting into, man. You know where the links can be found. I'll catch you all later.